He was both protective and nurturing. He often told us that one day he wanted to have 3 daughters, that he would name Sophia, Charlotte, and Olivia.
At 11 p.m. on July 4th, Christine Wells' phone rang. It wasn't her son. It was one of the boys he'd left with that morning, calling to tell her Nolan wasn't with them anymore and hadn't been for hours. What she didn't know yet, the boat had already been back on land since late afternoon. His phone had been sitting in someone else's hands the entire time. And by the time anyone called the Coast Guard that night, the response was that it didn't meet the threshold for an immediate search. No boats went out. No aircraft went up. Not that night. 2 days later, a National Park Service ranger spotted a body in the water off Horn Island's northwest shore. That is where this case actually starts. Not with theories, not with a viral clip, with a documented gap in time that, months later, still hasn't been fully explained. This is everything that's confirmed, everything that's still just a claim, and everything that's changed in the weeks since. Here's what GPS and dispatch records, not memory, actual records, confirmed. The boat left its dock at 9:56 a.m. and reached Horn Island by 11:14. Around 3 p.m., Nolan was last confirmed seen on the beach. Somewhere around that same hour, a call went out from the boat itself. A mechanical problem, water coming in.
We're sinking. Can y'all please come?
It's time-stamped. It's real. What it doesn't explain is everything that happened on that beach in the 90 minutes after it. The boat left the island at 4:31 p.m. without Nolan. One of the boys on that boat was Warren Cole, whose stepmother, Jackson County Chancery Judge Ashley Cole, later said publicly that the group left because of the mechanical failure, that Warren last saw Nolan around 3, and that Nolan chose to stay behind to catch a ride with another group he'd met that day. That other group includes a name that took weeks to surface directly, Katie. According to Nolan's mother, Katie has since described meeting Nolan on the beach and spending time with him. She has been clear on one point, though. She never actually saw him get on that boat. She believed he would. That's not the same thing. And somewhere in the space between what Nolan said he was going to do and what actually happened next is a question nobody, not Katie, not the friends, not even his own family, can currently answer. If you're new here, this channel breaks down active cases using what's actually been verified, not what's trending. If that's what you're looking for, subscribing means you won't miss it when the next real update on this case drops, because this one isn't close to over. Before going further, it's worth slowing down on who this timeline is actually about, because it's easy, in a case with this many moving parts, to lose the person underneath them. Nolan Xavier Wells was 18, from Ocean Springs, Mississippi, one of 6 kids raised by Christine and Elmore Wansley. Football ran through that family, not as a hobby, but close to a shared language. Nolan had just finished his freshman year at Southwest Mississippi Community College, where he'd walked on as a wide receiver. Summer camp for his first full season was set to start July 6th. He was 2 days away from that. People who knew him described the same thing from different directions. His coach remembers a kid who led by showing up, not by talking. His principal remembers him as someone teachers and teammates gravitated toward without being asked to. His mother has told one story publicly more than once. Nolan quietly getting his classmates to give a special needs student space to answer a question on her own, without anyone noticing he'd done it. When she got it right, he led the celebration. Not for show, because he meant it. His father has described him as a quiet leader, someone who wanted to show, not tell, and whose younger siblings watched everything he did. That's the person who left home on the morning of July 4th for a boat trip to Horn Island. A trip this same group of friends had made before, without incident. Nobody in that family had any reason, that morning, to think it would be the last ordinary day they'd have with him. When the boat returned without Nolan, nobody called his mother right away. It wasn't until close to 11 p.m. that Christine got that call. She said publicly that the moment itself is what told her something was wrong. A friend calling directly, rather than Nolan calling her himself, wasn't normal for this group. What followed was hours most parents never have to imagine. Warren Cole reportedly contacted the Coast Guard that night. Their response, based on what was described to them, didn't meet the threshold for immediate deployment. So Christine did what she could herself, tracking her son's location on her own, phone in hand, long before the Jackson County Sheriff's Office opened a formal report. By morning, Elmore couldn't wait on process either. He took his own boat out and searched the water near Horn Island himself, a father combing the same coastline his son had disappeared from, while an organized effort assembled on shore. Jackson County Sheriff's deputies, the Mississippi Department of Marine Resources, the National Park Service, the Coast Guard, and the United Cajun Navy, a volunteer rescue organization whose incident commander, Josh Gill, said they deployed boats and drones within hours of hearing from Nolan's mother directly.
Please report her 8-year-old son, Nolan Wells, missing back.
For 2 days, nothing. Just a family and a search team, refusing to stop looking. Then, on the morning of July 6th, a Park Service ranger found a body along the island's northwest shoreline. Sheriff John Ledbetter confirmed it matched Nolan's description. Cajun Navy official Brian Trasher later said the currents in that specific area are strong enough to overwhelm even experienced swimmers, and, in the same statement, said it was still difficult to understand how no one in a crowd of hundreds noticed something happening. Both things can be true. Neither one, on its own, answers what actually happened in the 90 minutes between the last confirmed sighting of Nolan and that boat leaving without him. And neither one gives his mother an answer for why her son never came home. Christine has said, more than once, that the moment she knew something was wrong wasn't the search, and it wasn't even the phone call. It was smaller than that. A friend calling instead of Nolan calling. That was the detail that told her, before anyone confirmed anything, that this wasn't an ordinary night. She spent the hours after that call doing the only thing she could do from a distance, tracking a phone, waiting on a knock, refusing to accept the silence as an answer. 2 days is a long time to wait for news no parent wants. 2 days is also, according to everyone who searched, exactly how long it took before anyone had one.
Search for Nolan Wells, as his family is now calling for a full, transparent investigation.
When Nolan was reported missing, his phone wasn't with him. Christine and her sister located it themselves, using a family tracking app at a friend's residence. When they got access to it, both of his Snapchat accounts were empty, no saved photos or videos, even though Nolan reportedly documented these trips consistently. Some text messages also appeared to be missing. What isn't clear is why. A phone that goes quiet can mean nothing, or it can mean everything. Right now, nobody outside that device actually knows which, and for a family already grieving, that uncertainty is its own kind of weight to carry. That uncertainty is exactly why, following a meeting between the family and the district attorney's office, both sides agreed to something unusual, a joint, simultaneous forensic examination of the phone, with the family's own experts and law enforcement examining the same data at the same time. No side gets to interpret it alone first. The most circulated piece of evidence in this case is a short clip, a voice yelling for a phone back. For weeks, it was treated online as confirmed proof that Nolan had been in a confrontation before he disappeared. For a mother trying to understand her son's final hours, that clip wasn't just speculation. It was something she had to sit with, not knowing if it was true. It wasn't confirmed. It was one witness's early read on the audio. A friend, Trace's Tin Shepherd, came forward directly, first to Good Morning America, later in further interviews, and said the voice on that recording is his own, from an unrelated altercation, and that Nolan isn't even shown in the footage. Attorney Ben Crump, whose team had originally floated the theory, has since acknowledged the claim came from a single source, and said his team is now working with audio experts to determine whose voice is actually on the tape. One name has been removed from that recording. Whose voice is actually on it is still being worked out. And until it is, that clip means something slightly different every time someone new hears it. The state autopsy was completed July 7th at the Mississippi State Medical Examiner's Office. Investigators have said there's currently no indication of drug or alcohol involvement, but that finding is preliminary, pending toxicology, which officials say can take several weeks. The family, distrustful of the state process, pursued an independent autopsy in Washington, D.C., conducted by Dr. Roger Mitchell and funded in part by Colin Kaepernick. Its results, released July 22nd, ruled Nolan's cause and manner of death undetermined, pending further investigation. Two labs, 1,000 miles apart, neither one, so far, willing to say what actually happened to him. Which means that months after burying her son, Christine still doesn't have the one thing every grieving parent is owed before anything else: a reason, not a theory, not a headline, an actual, confirmed answer for how her son ended up in that water. Until one of these reports closes that gap, she's left doing something no parent should have to do twice: waiting for someone else to tell her what happened to her own child. The one point of full agreement: the swimsuit recovered on the body matched what Nolan had been photographed wearing that day. On July 15th, Christine and Elmore sat down directly with Jackson County District Attorney Angela Marie McElrath for the first time since Nolan's body was recovered. Ben Crump, attorney Eric Hertz, and attorney Liza Park represented the family. Two things came out of that meeting. First, once the sheriff's investigation concludes, the case goes to a grand jury. Second, the joint phone inspection was formally agreed to. It's worth being precise about what a grand jury referral actually means, because it gets misunderstood constantly. Attorney Tyler Bailey has pointed out that in Jackson County, any unnatural or suspicious death is routinely referred to a grand jury. It isn't, by itself, evidence that charges are coming. Former Judge Carlos Moore has taken a more skeptical position, citing what he describes as this same DA's office previously failing to secure an indictment in an unrelated case despite strong evidence, and says he'll be watching closely to see if this one stalls the same way. Both are reasonable positions to hold at the same time. Routine procedure and a prosecutor's track record aren't mutually exclusive facts. Attorney Hertz also raised something more concrete. Under Mississippi's victims' rights law, the family was entitled to an incident report within 72 hours. That window passed without one. Christine has said the last contact she'd had from the sheriff's department before this meeting was days earlier, and that she was the one who'd had to reach out first, asking for any update at all on her own son's case. Following the meeting, the DA's office agreed to become the family's direct point of contact going forward. For weeks, the FBI's role in this case was only ever described in fragments. This month, the Bureau's Jackson Field office released a full statement. It's supporting, not leading, the Jackson County Sheriff's investigation, and its specific focus has been interstate threats made against people connected to this case. That's not a small detail. Christine and Elmore have said they received anonymous hate mail targeting their legal team while they were still planning their son's funeral, not weeks later, but in the middle of choosing a eulogy. Judge Ashley Cole has said publicly that her family received a wave of death threats. Trace's Tin Shepard has said he and others have been targeted online since the case went national. Separately, fabricated AI-generated video of Christine herself has reportedly circulated. While she was still sitting through press conferences trying to get a police report she was legally owed. On July 20th, Nolan was laid to rest at Centerpoint Church in Ocean Springs. Reverend Al Sharpton officiated. Filmmaker Tyler Perry covered the funeral costs, and Colin Kaepernick's earlier contribution had already covered the independent autopsy. Christine specifically asked Coach Les George to make sure former teammates, going back to middle school, were present. She made a deliberate choice about how that day would feel. Not a quiet, private grief, but something closer to a celebration, because, in her words, Nolan wouldn't have wanted people sitting around him in silence. Choosing joy, publicly, for a son she'd buried 2 weeks after getting a phone call no parent recovers from. She said it herself, Nolan wouldn't want anyone sitting around crying. So she planned a celebration instead. The music, the gathering, the cameras she let in on purpose, because she wanted the world watching him the way she saw him. But she never claimed the smile was the whole story. In the same breath she talked about celebrating him, she also talked about still fighting for a police report she was legally owed. About online rumors she was still correcting in real time. About fabricated videos of her own face circulating, while she sat through press conference after press conference asking, again, for someone to tell her what happened to her son. She held both of those at once, in public, without much space between them. A woman planning a party her son would have wanted, and a mother who, weeks later, still didn't have an answer for how he died. Nothing she said suggests those two things ever fully separated from each other, just that she chose which one she let the cameras see. And in the middle of all of it, she still turned outward to Nolan's friends, the same friends still at the center of so much public dispute, and asked them to take care of their own mental health. Not because anyone asked her to extend that grace, because, by every account of who her son was, that's exactly the kind of thing he would have done too. So here's the honest ledger as of now. Confirmed, a documented mechanical failure on the boat. A departure at 4:31 p.m. without Nolan. A body recovered July 6th. 2 completed autopsies, both inconclusive. A joint forensic phone inspection now agreed to by both sides. A formal grand jury referral once the sheriff's investigation wraps. What's still missing is smaller in number, but bigger in weight. 90 minutes nobody has walked through. A voice nobody has confirmed. A phone that went quiet for reasons nobody's explained. 3 gaps. 1 question sitting inside all of them. No cause of death has been confirmed. No one has been named a suspect. No charges have been filed against anyone. Behind every one of those unresolved details is a family still getting up every morning to the same unanswered question they've had since the night his friends came home without him. Not an accusation, just the plainest question a parent can ask. What happened to my son? This case is still active, which means most of what gets said about it online right now is still a guess dressed up as certainty. The actual answers, toxicology, the grand jury's outcome, whatever the phone turns up, haven't arrived yet. When they do, this channel will cover it the same way we covered tonight. What's confirmed, what's still just a claim, and nothing presented as more than it is. If that's the kind of coverage you want waiting for you, subscribe, because Nolan Wells' family is still waiting for the same answer everyone watching this is.